Hello, I'm Selene, and today we're going to be exploring the Easy Breezy Summer Event area. It is permanent, but I just want to get some extra primos for when I eventually get a new character. So, yeah, the goal today is to get to 60% exploration. I might go for a bit higher, and I also do want to do a standard banner pull since I think I'm very close to getting a 4-star character. Also, this is a voiceover. Some of the audio in the background, I didn't realize my mic was on when recording, so hopefully that's not too much of a problem. You'll probably hear my fan because it's really hot where I am. So I hope it's not too much of an issue. My plan for exploration right now is just to start from the very beginning and trying to hit every area. I think I'm going to start with the lower areas first and then work my way up to the higher elevation places like the mountains and stuff. And then we'll later go to Tete Isle once I feel like I've covered most of the area. Recently, I finished the summer event and story, and I did all the mini games too. And then after that, I also did the prelude quest to Not Cry. So before anything, I think I'm just going to talk about the summer event first. I actually really enjoyed this story, more so the final two parts than the beginning part. I felt like the payoff to everything was really good, especially finally getting some Bennett lore and like the confirmation that he's from Natlan. Also, the Venti and Isroth lore was really nice. It seems like we're going to get more Shade appearances because they've really been trying to build them up. Not just with the previous video, but also just in game. We had a Nefarious mention with Rhine we had Renova and Natlin, and now we're getting Istroth lore here. And then it makes sense that they're probably going to develop Asmodee a bit later. Though, with the space and time for you quests, those little stars did kind of look like Asmodee, which was very interesting. But yeah, I'm wondering if the Shades are going to be making an appearance sometime in Nod Cry, and that's why they're really trying to develop them right now. I am trying to be more of a lore enthusiast. I do think the Shades will probably be getting more lore development in the next region, which is why I think they've been mentioning it so much. But I was also trying to think about that in relation to the actual summer event. So, if you don't know, the summer event usually relates to the next region in terms of the next region story. Now, Notcry is really interesting because they're trying to tell the story of a bunch of different factions, and they're tying up loose ends before the big payoff, which should be Conria and Snezhnaya. And I'm sure Genshin's going to do more after that, seeing what they did with Honkai Impact Third and there being a part 2. And I wish I could say I had like crazy lore ideas, but honestly I don't. I'm not like a lore theorist. And I've been actually trying to stay away from lore videos for now. I'm probably going to watch them after this, just so I could like try to think on my own. And yeah, I clearly don't know enough about this game, and I really want to invest more time, but with school coming up, it's going to be hard. I would say, though, lore-wise, in relation to Not Cry, the thing that makes the most sense to me is my thoughts about the Queetsley Ridge, which is where we're playing like the shooting game with Chaska and everyone else. So you're in this town, and then I was thinking that's probably just going to be Nasha Town, right? And there's a sheriff. Sheriff will probably be Nefer, but I could also see it being Varka. And then the whole town has been taken over by the bad guys, which are represented by the cactus, who probably represent the Fatui. Now, there is a lone sheriff, and we also know Flynn's is the only lightkeeper left. I believe he's the last. I'm pretty sure that was in his lore. So the cactus could also be the wild hunt, which would be interesting, but I doubt that. Anyways, there could be a lot of different people represented by the cactus if it's Nasha Town and Nefer, who I believe is a part of the Catorium of Secrets. So she's like the big boss lady, right? That would make the most sense to me right now. They could also be treasure hoarders, the cactus guys. But I'm sure that story most likely relates to Nasha Town and probably those factions, if any. So, something else that really stood out to me was the sun ritual that they did. I was just thinking, oh, what if they did it with the moon, basically? So, the sun ritual takes the wishes when you light a candle, so through some sort of offering or sacrifice, gives your wishes to the moon. Or I guess in this case it would be to the Pyro Archon, aka Malflika. And then she can grant those wishes, which we see in the Marriage of Ari. Now, we could apply this to Columbina, who is the Moon Maiden. So, the Frost Moon Scions could use the old remnants of the moon that fell out from the sky, which we learned in the Prelude Archon quest. And they could make wishes or offering to their new moon, Columbina, which could, I guess, since you need believers to become a god, I don't know. It could also be a purifying ritual to make Columbina a new moon as well, I was thinking. Or to purify remnants of the old moon, since this ritual is supposed to amplify positive energy and then consume the bad energy. So maybe the ritual that the Frost Moon Scions could do would essentially purify old remnants or possibly even purify Columbina, though I think this could be a stretch. So they can make sure she would not be a corrupt moon. And this is really important since remnants of old gods or people, which we learn from Skirk, turn into curses, which we learned about the Gnosis since they contain the remains of the third descender. So the old moon pieces that fell out of the sky or Columbina could have bad energy essentially, or curses that need to be purified through the wishes of the Frost Moon Scions. But that's very speculative, and I'm pretty sure there could be a better theory than that for the moon ritual, essentially, if that would even be a thing. Nothing else lore-wise really stood out to me, aside from the fact where we brew the aphid mead, essentially alcohol. It kind of reminded me of the Fatui fort. Like, since it had the dome and the thing in the middle, it almost looked like or reminded me of how I would imagine the fort to look like on the inside. So I wonder if it's going to be an energy transformer type thing. Like, it takes energy from something that could be represented by the aphids and then converts it into some sort of energy. But I'm not really sure what that would be used for. Aside from that, like I said, I actually enjoyed the ending of the story more than the beginning. I thought I was going to enjoy the Wavy Bay area the most in the story, so I did it first. But I actually enjoyed Wheatley Ridge. I did think the water slide was really fun, but I thought we were going to do more of that. And the beginning part was just so boring. Like, having to build up all the facilities again wasn't very entertaining compared to Wheatley Ridge, where I felt like we were actually doing something and enjoying one of the rides. I actually found this mini game to be really enjoyable. I wish they had a stage like this in the mini game that was more competitive instead of the painting mini game we got for the summer event, because I wish I could go against a real person and not just uh, a Saurian staff, which is not a real person, just like the game, I guess. Because I want it to actually be really difficult. I thought this minigame was really fun, and I would play it again. I also think this minigame should have like a one-on-one, like you're soloing one person. But it would also be fun if it was a team method, kind of like Splatoon. I don't know if there'd be like a copyright issue with that, but having it with multiple people and instead of like just trying to paint the area in the mini game, like trying to work as a team, I think it would have been more fun when it came to either working as a team and going against another team and like trying to paint the area one specific color, or like, you know what I mean, kind of like Splatoon essentially, or like a solo, kind of like the beginning of this minigame when you're just going against one Saurian. I can't believe I didn't get what they were saying at first when I first played this minigame. I was so confused. I don't know why I was in the middle of the stage. So I'm gonna go back to Genshin Story, but now with the prelude. So I was writing down a lot of different thoughts. Um, First of all, AI dragons. Did I miss something? I probably because I didn't do Kanicha's story quest, so I was like, what did I miss? Though again, I just need to be paying attention more. Anything else? I was glad for the Sandrone, or is it Chandrone? I'll just say Sandrone. For the Sandrone mention, I'm really hoping we get more development of her. And I'm wondering if she'll ever be relevant to Anafa and Aino in the future, since she's has a lot of mechanical stuff and robots. I could see her and Dottore collaborating. I'm not sure if they would necessarily get along. And then, like I said before, just them taking the moon down was like crazy. I was like, what? And then, kind of similar to the summer event, um, the payoff was like really nice. But going through the quest, I was kind of like, eh, okay, like you're the 11th Dragon Lord, I guess. Like, okay. It it wasn't anything crazy. I would say why I enjoyed the ending so much, though, is because we got to see someone get a vision again, and specifically an electrovision. So, personally, I believe the element your vision is does have meaning. I know some people are just like, it doesn't mean anything, but I believe it does. And I do think it relates to the current Archon at the time and their ideals. And this is, I would say, most relevant for Electro. So, people with Electro visions before the Vision Hunt decree, basically Raiden's old views of eternity. They tend to defy the status quo, and you've probably heard that before. But the way I interpret it is they will do basically anything to preserve their own eternity, regardless of what the outside world says, which is very Raiden core, because before her change in eternity, it was essentially, let's try to keep everything the same, regardless of the outside world. I would say the best example of this is Fischl. She does not care if other people think she probably does care to some extent, but regardless of what people have said, she has kept her own eternity by being herself, by being the princessin, by being Fischl. Because even if some people will always think of her as Amy, in her mind, she's always Fischl. I do believe there's other characters that could fall into this. I believe the most recent Electro character we got was Eon-san, and her story is essentially everyone's kind of concerned that she can't lift this barbell, so she trains for about 1,000 days, which is, the story says, is like 3 years. And she goes to lift the barbell and finds her vision. So regardless of people's concerns, regardless of what people thought, she maintained the eternity mindset, like, I'm gonna do this. Oh my god, it reminds me of manifestation, like, you already have it, right? But obviously she put in the work, right? She was like, I'm going to lift this barbell regardless of what people say, essentially. Like, it has happened, it will happen type mindset, right? So I would say it was, the Electro Vision was more about maintaining the inner eternity of oneself regardless of the world changing. So Inefa's vision is given post Inazuma, and previously we know that no Electro Visions were given during the Vision Hunt decree. There was like a gap. As for other characters that have just released, I'm pretty sure other people would be able to find out whether the timeline would match up with that or not, but I'm not going to go through all of that. But we know for sure Nefa got her vision post Inazuma Vision Hunt. Basically, when Raiden's views align more with Matoko's views. I believe that was the previous Electro Archon. While
Watch this.
pre Inazuma, or we're assuming pre Anefa, I guess, if we assume everyone got their Electro Visions before we went to Inazuma, then it would be pre Raiden's views. So Anefa is interesting because, based on my theory, her vision should be more aligned with Matoko's views, which was essentially eternity involves change. Now, Inefa is the 11th Lord who separated herself because she was the malfunction. So Inefa lived as the quote unquote malfunction, gained a bunch of memories, and then got her vision by overcoming her old self with all the new memories she gained to essentially become Inefa. And then, yeah, her journey to go home. So that's why I think her vision story is so interesting, because I believe it reflects Raiden's change of views on eternity, since Inefa, or the part of the 11th Lord, chose to change. She chose to be a part of the bigger picture of eternity, essentially. While the 11th Lord was probably something more similar to Raiden's old views. So, yeah, I just thought that was really interesting when it came to Anefa getting an electrovision specifically. This mini event was also really fun. Like, I actually enjoyed playing against the NPCs, and in the later one, you do a second race. I actually found that a bit more difficult. I wish there was a multiplayer version of this. There were like some fun mini games that I did while I was exploring where I was like, why didn't we have a racing mini game? Why didn't we have a water slide racing mini game? That would have been so fun. I would have really enjoyed that. And it could be multiplayer, and we had to race down the slide, and maybe there could be different pathways that could take you longer, or there could be like shortcuts people would do. I just think that would be so fun. And I'm really disappointed by some of the mini games in the summer event. Some of the puzzle ones I thought were too easy, to be honest. And I think if they put more effort into the mini games, they would have been more enjoyable. I still enjoyed the summer event. I haven't played too many. I think the only other one I played was Simulanka, and I definitely enjoyed that more. I think Simulanka also lasted longer, which surprised me because this summer event did not last that long. It was very short. I was extremely surprised by that. I'm actually surprised I almost lost that race. I don't know if the using the Asha would have been faster, but I really had fun actually just using Mavwika and Zolonin for the race. Oh my god, this proposal moment was so cute. I didn't get the painting the balloons on camera, but I was very happy I was able to actually get the proposal. So adorable. I hope they add more little romantic NPC things or just like heart things. I think there's like a chest you can only get in co op that is like a little heart, and I think that's so adorable. What a happy couple. I know Genshin doesn't really do this, but I actually would really like a love story in Genshin that's not just between NPCs, but also between playable characters. I know Klee has a dad, so Alice probably has a husband, but I don't know. Some people are saying Klee could be a clone, which is crazy. I honestly don't want that. I would like characters, or more specifically, playable characters, to have romantic relationships with other characters. And to be honest, I'm not really that big into shipping, but I think it would just be nice for a change of pace, especially to not have like some people fawning over the traveler, because there's quite a few, which isn't bad, but just something a little different. Like, it would be so cute to have like two playable characters have a love story. I would love that. And then, wait, you know what I want, whether it's playable characters or not? I want a wedding event. That would be so cute. And then if it was playable characters, you could have like a groom and like a bride outfit, or if it was like between NPCs, imagine if it was like a bridesmaid outfit. That would be so cute. I want a wedding event so bad now that I think about it. And then you do all the wedding preparations and you get to choose it yourself. You can bake a wedding cake for them. That could be a cute little mini game. What else? Actually, I think what would be more interesting first is that around like summertime, because that is like wedding season, right? They have an NPC engagement event, right? And then you're helping this guy propose to whoever. And then you like help with the where should I propose area, like let's set it up, blah 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 blah, blah stuff like that. And then like they finally propose. And then like a year later around the same time, it's the wedding event. And then you have all these mini games and stuff. That would be so cute. I don't know if there's imagine if it were these NPCs too. That would be so funny. Like there was just a wedding event of them next year. Like we're getting married. So yeah, I would really like that. If you couldn't tell, I don't use bow characters for their normal attack or their charge attack at all. I actually hate bow characters when it comes to that playstyle because I don't want to aim. But that's clearly just a skill issue. This actually took a lot of retries, and I had to cut it out because I don't think that would be enjoyable. But yeah, I really like using Venti's skill though. That has been really fun. So this year I went to Comic Con for one day and it was very fun. My favorite panel, I went to a panel essentially where you could just color and listen to lo-fi, and it was very relaxing. Someone actually came up and sat with me and my boyfriend and asked if we could talk, and it was very fun. She was so kind, and I wish I was outgoing as that and I could approach people like that. I am not like that, but it made me very happy. She was talking about how she talked with her favorite voice actor from this game, and I was like, oh my god, that's amazing. And how she's working towards becoming, I think, a dentist or orthodontist. I could be wrong. But yeah, and we were all just talking about life, and I was like, oh, this is really nice. And another, it wasn't necessarily a panel, but we went and swapped stickers, and I only brought Genshin stickers because I thought it was supposed to only be fandom related. But other people brought some other non related fandom stuff, so I should have done that. I felt very bad I only brought Genshin. And there were no other Genshin fans, so sad. But there was one person, but he just got back into it. But I got Mira from K-pop Demon Hunters. I got Kobeni holding a gun. And then I got Angel and what's his name? Oh my god, I'm like forgetting. Aki. Angel and Aki together. And then just this fish guy pointing and laughing. So yeah, that was very fun. I wish I was able to stay longer, but often when I'm like outside of my house and there's just a lot of loudness going on, I get overwhelmed very easily. So that's another reason I want to go for all 3 days next time, because there were just a bunch of panels I missed and I just need my time to recharge. So hopefully if I go every single day, it'll just be easier on me at least. I also had the goal of trying to find Genshin merch, specifically for Rina. And I didn't find it on the first day, but my boyfriend who went on the second day found some stuff for me. He found a Farina keychain for my bag, and then a Layla and Farina Pokemon card. And then he has a Nuvolette one. It's very cute. And I really like both of the Pokemon cards. I will put the person who made them right here. And then I have quite a bit of Farina merch actually. I have more than I'm probably showing in the video. So I'm not obsessed with her. She just happens to be my favorite character. So everyone gets things of her. So I just happen to accumulate a lot. But then it's kind of like, oh, is it turning into an obsession or looking like one? She's one of my favorites though, so it's really nice to have her. So yeah, Comic Con was really fun this year. I went with my boyfriend and his brother for the beginning part of it, and I really enjoyed it. If you went to a Comic Con or an anime convention, can you tell me how it was? Because I was so surprised how outgoing some people were, and because I'm a very nervous person in real life. I get very anxious talking to people. But it was really nice having people approach me, and it made me very happy. And I wish I was able to do more panels this year. My boyfriend was talking about how he went to an AI panel, and for context, first of all, I don't like AI. I don't agree with it. Specifically, I believe generative AI. I don't agree with AI art. I don't agree with it replacing writers and creative things. I know there's cases where it can be useful for like health related things that I don't fully understand, but when it comes to art, when it comes to writing, when it comes to academics, I don't believe it should have a place. But essentially, he was telling me there was a panel about it and how all of them use AI, and a lot of people disagreed with it, which, to be fair, like, it's not entirely accurate. It especially when it comes from art or writing, it steals from other people's works, which is just awful. And I just hate AI. It's so bad. I don't like it at all. It's anti-creativity, anti-intellectualism, and I don't think it has a place when it comes to academics or art at all. So yeah, but one of the writers said he only used it for like making sure he was using the right character as like basically proofreading, and to me is like, why don't you just get a proofreader? Like, I'm sure that's a thing. I think people who write fan fiction do that. It's insane, right? Like, people who write fan fiction, I don't know. I just don't understand the point of using AI. It's like people who put all their time and work into fan fiction will actually, is it a beta reader? They go out of their way to get a beta reader to read everything, and they're like, this checks out, yes, this makes sense. But you have to use AI. Like, there are people that could actually accurately do things, and of course people make mistakes, but AI is inconsistent in my opinion. Not good enough. And it steals, well, you get the gist. It's like, why can't you just get a person to do it? And that was a very interesting panel. I wish I was there. I don't know if I would have been brave enough to ask questions, but that that incited anger in me, a lot of anger. I think the other person at the panel was, I want to say a data analyst, but I'm not entirely sure. I don't know. I just remember that one specifically that he told me about, and I was like, I don't know. It's just awful. That, and maybe it just offends me more because I draw as well. I mean, you shouldn't have to be an artist or a writer for AI to anger you. I mean, we've all been students at some point, right? I guess that would be the biggest thing. Are you really learning if you're using AI to write an essay for you? Are you really being creative if you use AI to come up with prompts or to create a character? I don't know. So that's my problem with it. I can't really see an argument for it, uh, at least in a creative sense or an academic sense. So yeah, but I think because I draw, because I did art, it just angers me more. Because even if I'm not good at it, which I don't think I'm the best. But even if I'm not good at it, the fact that you, or not you, sorry, I'm not trying to blame you, the fact that AI just takes people's works without their permission. Oh, and the same goes for voice acting too. That's awful, right? Oh god. Now we're getting into SAG after territory with Genshin. I don't know what was going on with that. I'm not gonna lie. I have no idea. All I know is that honestly, I just need to look into the situation myself. I'm sure most people who play Genshin have already been up to date with everything going on with SAG AFTRA, so I'm not going to really talk about that. And I also don't think I know enough to give my own opinion. But with everything I do know, I feel at least a bit questionable about the strike or collective work refusal. Obviously, I believe people deserve to strike, especially if it's against AI protections, which I believe everyone was on board with at first. But then obviously things got complicated after harassment, and then some people were saying that they actually did have AI protection and there were competitive union rates. Anyways, I'm not going to get into that. Honestly, I'm just happy. I think everyone was voiced in this new event, and it made me really happy. I've been getting used to the new Paimon voice, and maybe it's just because I'm so used to the old VA that I'm still getting used to the new one, but they're both good, I think, for different reasons. Also, the little moment with Kuchin's new VA, that also surprised me. I was like, oh, I wonder if they're gonna redo all their voice lines or if it's just going to be all the newer ones. But I'm very happy that everyone was back. Honestly, it was so rough playing Archon Quest and events without voices. So I'm very happy that the summer event was voiced. Like so happy. Like I it makes it so much easier to actually want to play the game. And it was really nice hearing Lumine's voice too. So yeah, I'm very happy that everything has hopefully been resolved and that the strike or collective work refusal has ended, I believe.
Let's show me your moves, shall we?
I'm still learning this team's rotation. I recently just finished building Farazan, so the gameplay's not great, and I'm not used to doing quick swap things, so it's a bit new for me, and I'm also trying to get used to how to do this with Farina and Bennett. I know Farina should probably be first, but then her 20-second cooldown makes things weird, and like what really matters is the burst and not as and just keeping her skill up. But then it gets weird and you have to switch back, and I'm still figuring it out. So if you have any advice for doing quick swap venti things, please help me out. So I just got to 60%, and I would like to get to 80, but I don't get to 80 in this video. I was struggling. I was really struggling. I was so tired. And I did get a bit bored of exploring this area, and I don't mind missing out on 100 primos. I'm doing pretty good right now, so we'll just be saving up. I'm wondering if I should use any of my extra wishes, though, just to build pity on another character's banner. Just for funsies, you know, you never know if you could get in early. But I actually think it'd be just smarter to save everything for characters that I actually want. But it's so tempting. How can I not? It's been a while since I've saved this much. But you never know, they've been doing things like Escoffier before Skirk, and Nefa before Flynn's, so I might need to hold off anyway, just in case if there's a new premium team coming out. I don't know why I used Venti to get the Oculus when the Asha are so much better. I love the Asha. Using it is so fun. It's basically every single Natlin ability into one. Because I hate having to find a certain Saurian just to do things, right? Like, that's very annoying. But having the Asha, like, it makes it so easy. I can do, like, the Kanich moment. I can have, like, a sit lolly jump. And I can walk up walls and it doesn't run out. Like, I wish the Asha were around all of Natlin, but I guess they're only in this region, which makes me very sad because I just want exploration to be easier. And I also wish exploration, or at least easy exploration, wasn't locked behind characters. I mean, I know we have the Saurian, but like, it's nice to have it in different regions. I would say I used to use Venti's E a lot, but now I just use Sit Lolly. And then Zalonin and Mavwika are also really good. I would say Zalonin's my favorite because I actually hate climbing a lot. So she makes it so much easier. I'm very happy they added it into the game. But the Asha, why would I even use an Atlan character, right? Like, what's the point? This is another mini game I really enjoyed as well, and I thought it was really cute. Again, like, why did we have the very easy puzzle mini games when we could have had this? But this was also pretty simple too. And actually, last night I was thinking about what I said about the racing thing, and I wish there was something almost like, I want to say something like Mario Kart World, where in each region we could have like a whole race against other people and across like the whole region. So like we would go throughout all of Mondstadt and have like a racetrack, if that makes sense. And then for Leeway, Inazuma, Sumeru, Fontaine, Natlin, I think that would be really cool, and I hope they do something like that. And then they could do something like this, right? Of like the spirit ways and stuff. That would be really fun. I just want more multiplayer events, which multiplayer events used to make me very nervous, but now they don't make me as nervous, even though I'm like not good at the game. But yeah, I would really like a racing one. I don't know if they would have to give everyone the same character. So like everyone uses like Mavuika or Zalonin or characters with certain skills, but I think that would be super interesting. I did just mention Mario Kart World, and I think I might have mentioned Splatoon earlier about the painting thing, but I'm not too sure. Anyways, do you think it's okay if Genshin takes inspiration from other games? Because personally, like, I don't mind too much, at least for the mini games, right? But a lot of people, when Genshin first came out, they were comparing it to Breath of the Wild, and especially like the opening scene. I mean, they are both open world games, but I would say now Genshin has created its own identity. To say it doesn't take inspiration from other games, though, would be a lie. Like, you can definitely see the resemblance with some of the games, especially like with Breath of the Wild, like with that opening scene and the Ruin Guards. What are they similar to? I forgot what they're called. Like the little, oh, the Guardians. Oh, Guardians and Ruin Guards. Similar names. And they're both, I believe, ancient technology from a past. Hmm, very interesting. I don't know. I don't think it's entirely bad as long as Genshin can have its own identity and it can be its own separate game. But once it starts becoming the same thing, then it's like, that's not fun. But I wouldn't say Genshin's really like that to some extent. So, Tete Isle is probably my favorite part of the region looks wise, at least the DJ area. I really like it. It's just very colorful and bright, and that's why I actually prefer Genshin over other games like Wuwa, just for the aesthetics. But I was thinking about the specifically the Genshin modernization problem that a lot of people have. I do think at least it makes lore sense in Natlan. So I will excuse it, but it is somewhat jarring when at least other nations like Sumeru and Fontaine at least try to not make it like our present day. But again, I do think there are lore justifications with the ancient dragon technology. Though I do wonder if it would be interesting if it did look more similar to the actual technology. Like if Mavwika's motorcycle looked more in design with the technology in the underground ancient sacred mountain place, I think, or Ochkonatlan, right? But to be fair, Zalonin did modify stuff, so I don't know. I think quite a few people have pointed this out is that a lot of the people in Natlan, the modernization isn't throughout the whole game. It's mainly with the people who have visions or the playable characters, right? And I do agree. I think where we really see it, we do see a bit of it like in the Children of Echoes. There are other people who are DJing, I believe. And then in Chaska's Story Quest, there are people using jetpacks when they can't fly the Kukasaur. So it's there. I wonder if it's just starting to emerge, and the main people who have it would be the people with the most access, or I guess most money, kind of like real life. Like Mavlika's probably really rich, so it makes sense she could have a motorcycle. And I'm assuming Chaska, who also had her stuff made by Zalonin, also probably has a lot of money. And they have visions too. I don't know if that could help with the designs that Zalonin makes as well. But, anyways, I do think they should have incorporated it a little more, kind of like how they did in Tete Isle. Like, it doesn't need to be everywhere. I don't know. I don't know what they should have done, to be honest. It seems like the technology is slowly emerging, or that's what they're trying to do. As for another thing with this is more of a gripe that I have about Mavwika specifically and the motorcycle. I don't have a problem with the motorcycle, right? But something I just think about, I don't have an answer to this, but did they give Mavwika the motorcycle because it makes sense for her character, or did they give Mavwika the motorcycle because they wanted a character to have a motorcycle? Think about it. Think about it. Because for me personally, it feels like they just wanted to have a character to have a motorcycle and not this makes sense for Mavwika. Now, I did watch someone explain that there are cultural reasons for Mavwika to have a motorcycle. I don't know whose video that was, but there is a reason essentially is the point. So that makes it a bit better, but does it justify it in the game? Like, should Mavwika's character have a motorcycle? Mm, I mean, am I creative enough to give her something else? You know what would have been really interesting? What's that weapon in Monster Hunter? A switch axe. Or was it a charge blade? I think it might have been a charge blade. Anyways, I just I truly wonder if a motorcycle was the best pick for Mavlika's character compared to whatever other options they would have. I do think she should have been a Claymore character. They did that right. But I don't know if the motorcycle was the pick. I think they did it well for other characters. Like, I understand why Mulani rides the inflatable shark thing and attacks with it because she works at a surf shop, and I think it's very cute. Chaska, well, she's a peacemaker with a giant gun, but she uses the gun to fly around. It's giving something I would see in Bayonetta, which is fun. There should be fun and whimsy in the game. But I can't imagine a peacemaker pointing a giant gun at me and feeling like I would want to make amends. I think I would be more fearful, which maybe is the point. Peace by force, right? But anyways, specifically with Mavlika, I guess the point is, was the motorcycle made for her or was she made for the motorcycle? End of story. But yeah, the modernization, sometimes it bothers me, but to be honest, maybe I've just gotten used to it and I'm fine with it. And I actually like seeing it in Tete Isle. So yeah, I think it would have been nice to see a bit more of it in other parts of Natlan. But I, that's in the past. I'm fine with it for now. This part of the quest made me so sad. I didn't show me doing the whole thing, just the ending. And we're talking to this village troll, and we can understand them in some parts, it seems. But it makes me so sad. It just reminded me of Dear I believe. The Space and Time for You quest was really good. I always enjoy the Dainsliff quest a lot, and as we're getting closer and closer to Conria, I think the payoff is just going to be even better. I'm really happy we got to finally see the Abyss Twin. That made me really happy, and I don't know about you, but I chose to keep the key because I wanted it in my inventory, which I looked up. I didn't want to give it away because, like, the outcome's basically the same. Though I do wish some choices in Genshin were more impactful. I would say the most impactful thing was the war in Atlan. I I didn't pay attention. I'm actually slow. I wasn't reading the things, so I didn't save as many people as I should have. And I felt so bad. I actually felt so stupid. Average Genshin player who doesn't read. Very sad, but I wish I could redo that quest again. But you can't redo war. My Wi-Fi was also really bad at the time. So, yeah, that's another reason. But yeah, I wish there were more impactful choices you can make in Genshin, similar to the war in Natlan, that I think is the best part about this game. Even though I didn't really like Natlan's story compared to Fontaine, I thought the characters and in some parts the gameplay were my favorite. So I'm really gonna miss that, and I hope they incorporate more things that actually impact parts of the game. That took too long for an exquisite chest. Maybe it's just because I'm using a weaker team and I'm also not using them right, but I expect a bit more. Just a bit. Like a luxury. Is it luxurious? I don't remember the names. But exquisite, Genshin's being stingy, I fear.
Show me your moves. Put up a good fight.
I'm really surprised by how much damage Farhozan's burst did, I think. I know she's on Emblem, but it still kind of surprised me a little.
Forget it.
So I'm actually just going to stop here because the video's getting a bit long, and also I should have enough sigils to give to the Tablet of Tona and get a free standard wish. So I'm going to do a poll, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm really happy about the rewards for Natlin when it came to giving up sigils. They've really improved that, so I'm very happy. I'm hoping they continue that with Nordcry and they're not as stingy with Primo Gems compared to past regions. Oh my god, Mika is actually my least favorite character. Part of it is to his voice, which no hate to the voice actor. He conveys what Mika is supposed to be very well, but his voice annoys me. And also, whenever there's an awkward character, I end up just feeling their pain and their cringe way too much. So I just feel as awkward as they do, and that's how I feel about Mika. But anyways, that's going to be the end of this video. Sorry, it's like kind of on a bad note when it came to Mika, but I'm just happy to get a 4-star. And to the next pity, I guess. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to me yap about whatever, about nonsense. And have a nice day.